Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh, and a very good evening. I hope all of you are doing well. So the topic today is on aerospace marketing management. It is a topic number 5, aerospace marketing management. So we are going to look into the business intelligence marketing, market segment and position, marketing and sales action plan, all related to the aerospace industry. However, for tonight, we are going to just cover the introduction or overview of what is aerospace marketing management, and we will then look into the business intelligence marketing. So the other two subtopic, market segment and position, and marketing and sales action plan, will be covered in the next part, basically next week, inshallah. Right. If we have already still remember when we start our course a few weeks ago, we have already looked at the aerospace industry as a whole, and then we look into the subsector of aerospace, where aerospace industry being divided into several subsectors, including maintenance, repair and overhaul. And then we have aerospace manufacturing, we have system integration, engineering, design, as well as the education and training. So all of these subsectors are included in what we say that as aerospace marketing, meaning that each of the subsector of aerospace involved in a aerospace strategy in marketing. Over the last decade, the aeronautics industry, or known as aerospace industry nowadays, has undergone an evolution, which has fundamentally modified managerial practice within the aerospace sector. So from being a product-based industry, so it is known as a product-based industry, where the aerospace industry or aviation industry are based on product base. Okay, there has been a progressive move towards a market driven one. Okay, what do we mean by product based industry? What do we mean by market driven will be discussed thoroughly in our course today. So it is representing a turning point in marketing for an industrial sector with many particularities. So we can compare the automotive industry, we can compare electronic industry, telecommunication industry, even the civil construction industry to aerospace, where aerospace is kind of a unique in term of the market itself. It is dominated by a few giants currently, right? So, but it is also open up to other industry. For example, like automotive players are already moving into aerospace. Even telecommunication companies and industry are also heavily involved in the aerospace sector. In terms of the marketing approach, if you look at several literature with regards to how industries or companies doing marketing, so it is can be divided into several approaches. And the first one is basically, we call it as the production economy, right? When we talk about marketing, the first approach of doing marketing is based on production economy. And then it is we have the distribution economy, and the third one is the market economy, and finally the fourth marketing approach, we call it as the environment economy. So this particular table that I show you in front of you now is the appearance of marketing as a result of the economic turnaround. So when we say that the 4 marketing approach is not only limited to aerospace, it is a general marketing approach that being applied in various sectors or various industry all over the world. So we can say that the production economy, where the supply is normally less than the demand. Okay, so the demand is more than the supply. Later on, we are going to go through the brief description of each approach of marketing, right? And then, so production economy, you can say that supply is less than demand. Distribution economy, where the supply is equal to the demand. For example, like you produce 100 components, and in the market, the stakeholders require 100 components. So supply and demand are equal. We call it as distribution economy. When we call it as a market economy, it is oversupply. Supply is more than the demand. And when we talk about environment economy, the supply are more much more than the demand. Okay, so you can see the brief summary of the different marketing approach when it is all about supply and demand, right? So let us look into the description of each one of the elements of the marketing approach. So when we talk about the production economy, right? So this is the situation where companies are not producing enough to satisfy customer needs, meaning that the production of the components of the product are less than what is required by the stakeholders, right? So meaning that you can increase the price of the production, increase the price of the product, of the thing that you want to sell. So this phase is characterized by not enough supply to meet the demand, and under this condition there is no real need for marketing because there are not enough units available in the market, right? So there's no real need for marketing. So the company basically needs to produce while at the same time being economically efficient and controlling the cost price. So the sale function becomes a question of rationalizing distribution. How to disseminate the product over the chosen territory. So this is what we call it as a monopoly, where the product is being produced less than what is required by the market. As the end customers are waiting for the good produce, the companies are not over inclined to dress up their offer, right? They can just maintain the price, or they can increase the price because people would like to have the product by adding sophistication or lowering the selling price. So the production economy is characterized by low competitive pressure, okay, since the companies are sure to be able to place what they produce. So what they produce, they can make sure that they can sell the product. Okay, so this sort of economy was a characteristic regardless of country of century past. The same sort of conditions are to be found when there is a shortage of goods following disturbances, conflicts, or natural catastrophes. So this is one of the type of marketing approach where the company themselves are in a position to control the market because of the supply is less than the demand. So you can still remember in the table 1.1 just now, the summary saying that in terms of supply, it is less which is less than the demand. Okay, that is the production economy. Let us look into the distribution economy, where the supply is equal to the demand. 100 product being produced and 100 needed in the market. So this correspond to an ideal economic equilibrium, okay, where supply and demand are balanced, which is an ideal situation where it is not common for all type of product, especially when you look into aerospace. We know that there is many backlog. We have already looked and discussed about the backlog of the aircraft being supplied by Airbus and Boeing, right? So that is not showing a good example of distribution economy. Certain economies situate this phase in the 1970s. So this is around 50 years ago. However, today it tends to be regarded as an idyllic vision of the economy. So at the moment, there aren't any industry per se having the distribution economy market approach, right? So where the supply is equal to the demand. All right, let us move into the market economy, right? So this type of marketing approach correspond to an economy where supply sometimes and most of the time greatly exceeds the demand, right? So here it is impossible for customers to buy all the goods on offer, meaning that there are supply that are not needed by the customers. And so obviously marketing becomes all important. So for example, like when you want to buy smartphones nowadays, right? So there are so many choices, so many brand. For example, you have Samsung, you have Huawei, you have Oppo, you have Apple. Even within the brands, also there are different features, different series. So there are so many choices to choose from. So it is no longer good enough to merely produce, right? So this is becoming a competitive market, right? Even efficiently, and then distribute the goods with an effective sales force. So it is now become essential to analyze the demand in order to know the customer's motive, right? The customer needs, right? What the customer wants, rather than what's the manufacturer wants, for satisfaction or dissatisfaction. So it is quite crucial to understand the market demand. In order for you to penetrate the market, you want to make sure your product is being it is high in demand. You have to have innovation. You have to make sure that your the product itself can supersede the rest of the competitors. So the product or services offered can then be improved in anticipation of expectations, thereby outshining competitors. You want to make sure what you want to sell, what you want to produce, what you want to give to the clients are the best, because there are so many competitors. Supply is more than the demand. So the market economy is thus characterized by a very intense level of competition, right? So this is the current situation where we call it as the market economy, where supply is more than the demand. And finally, the last marketing approach, we call it as the environment economy. What is it? Environment economy. So this is closely related to the market economy, where supply is more than demand. However, this time around, the supply is much more than the demand. Maybe twice, maybe it is a triple, or it is more than enough. It is being flooded. More. There's so many choices, so many brands, so many features available in the market. Okay, and follows on from it by considering those non-economic organization or people taking part indirectly in the transaction. So this could be government organizations, particularly for certification. If we look at aerospace, but also international bodies for who establish rules and regulation for trade and technical norms. For example, like the Federation Aviation Airworthiness, FAA, and CAA in the UK. We have CAAM in Malaysia, and many other authority, for example, like EASA in Europe and so on, right? So they can also be involved in terms of the controlling the market over here. It could also be the media, right, whose greatly increased importance affects the efficiency of companies. Journalists who are constantly in search of new information have now become influencers and should be considered by companies' new target. So basically, this is a different ball game where the market is already flooded with the product itself. Right. So in summary, in short, in terms of the overview of aerospace marketing management, whatever the country, the marketing department should be in tune with its market, meaning that the marketing department should be a serious department. It's no longer just having one or two officers sitting in the marketing department, and most of the companies, they already have a position that is called chief marketing officer. So it is already being placed at a high rank in the company. However, management and shareholders do not always share this vision. This is not obvious when the company is run by engineers whose main objective is to extol the virtues of the research department, right? If you are an engineer, you are always focusing just on the technical part of it, not try to sell the product, but basically to improve the product. In fact, when the company is far too product oriented rather than customer oriented, nor is it generally the case within state organizations. And then we can also summarize that there are also those companies who still fantasize about returning to the golden age of a production economy in which call all the shots. So you want to say that it is the supply is less than the demand. Okay. Normally, research and development helps the company to innovate, producing new products and services, because you want to be competitive. You want to make sure your product, especially your aerospace product, is safe, as well as having the latest technology. So if the latter are successful, demand will increase, putting the company temporarily into a production economic situation. Similar cases can still be found today among suppliers for the aeronautics industry. So we will later look at different strategies. What are the examples given by certain companies in order for them to survive in the open market for aerospace? Right. If we can see here, this is just a chart showing appearance of marketing as a result of the economic turnaround for aerospace industry, right? So a chain can be drawn to show relative values from the aeronautical parts manufacturer, aerospace manufacturing companies, down to the airline passenger or end customer. So you can see here the manufacturers rank N. So if you still remember when we talk about the aerospace manufacturing industry, they have different tiers, and normally we have tier 1, which is talking to the or having contracts from the OEM, and then you have tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4 manufacturing suppliers. So the manufacturer down to the airline passenger or end customer, passing through the leasing companies, as well as for example, like leasing companies such as International Lease Finance Corporation, GCAS, GATX, Flight List or Express Transporters like FedEx or UPS or DHL even. Eventually, we can see that companies in these sectors are concerned by all types of marketing except for that which applies to the sale of consumer goods. If you look here, manufacturer rank number N, maybe tier 4, up to parts manufacturer rank number 1, and to the aircraft builders. Aircraft builders probably the Airbus, Boeing, and other aircraft builders, like Cessna and so on. So that link directly to airlines. We also have a group of companies that leasing companies, express transport also, that we have already highlight here, express transporters, where it deals directly to the end consumer, the companies that require the services from the airline lessor or the express transport. So we can see here there are two different grouping here: project marketing and business to business marketing, right? And this is a business to business marketing only, and general public marketing of services where distributor and end consumer are taking place, right? So that is basically an overview of aerospace industry marketing, that are available today. So we can also look into many examples. I will share with you some report that are available nowadays to look into the aerospace marketing management, right? As I said, today we will look into the first part of the aerospace marketing management, which is called the business intelligence marketing. So the marketing studies are used to measure satisfaction, evaluate potential, discover new openings, verify the segmentation method adopted, reinforce sales argument, and others, right? For all of these, useful information needs to be collected, and the aim of market surveillance is to enrich the information system, right? So there are many methods in terms of gathering market information, or we call it as the business intelligence marketing, either by doing desktop searching. So you can use Google, you can use other sort of search engine to find out what are the information available in the market. You can also look into brochures, company websites, brochures, to look into to find out what are the current activities or the current technology available, the current offering in the market in terms of the pricing and so on. At the same time, market surveillance can be conducted through conferences, gathering air shows. In terms of aerospace, there are many air shows being conducted. For example, in Malaysia, we have the Langkawi International Aerospace and Maritime event, which is being held every 2 years. Hopefully by next year 2023 we will have the next Lima in 2023. So we have for example like Farnborough Air Show, Singapore Air Show, Dubai Air Show, and many other aerospace exhibition all over the world, which being used as a business intelligence marketing. So what we call it as the market surveillance. And the other methods of information system gathering, basically by doing spying. Some big giants company, they send out their employees as a spy to be working in the competitors company. So just to gather information. Okay, it's not just secret agent or intelligence by government, by the military. In aerospace industry, they also have this kind of strategy, right? So in the light of the strategic importance of marketing surveillance and studies, it is essential to set out the objectives and methods. How the what are the objectives of the business intelligence marketing, what are the current methods, as well as the main techniques needed to acquire, to protect, and to exploit pertinent information, right? So however, it is not just enough to just have a department of market studies. So it's no longer, if you look at companies like Boeing and Airbus, I always give an example of these two companies where they have a special business intelligence marketing department. It's no longer just a marketing department or business department. It is word intelligence are already be used to show that it is strategically important. Okay, so the main thing is to set up an action plan to best exploit the results. Okay, right. When we say about information system, okay, an organization information system comprises the sum of human, material, and method-based means concerned with dealing with the different forms of information encountered. So, with all the information gathered, whether it is an open source or it is coming from direct interview, having surveys and so on, it has to be analyzed and action need to be taken. The company's main objective is to gain the required knowledge about another organization in order to make decision making and subsequent implementation more effective. Right. This is a chart, an example taken from Malaval and Binaroya 2013 about having a system of business intelligence marketing. So you have surveillance where the stage of surveillance include research, collection, and then treatment, right? So memorizing and diffusion being used here to move into the next stage where we call it as the exploitation, where you conduct analysis, you validate your assumptions, your hypothesis, and you make use of all the information either to improve your product, to make sure your product is competitive compared to the other competitors. So this is an information management process. It is a continuous process. That's why it is very important to be placed in especially in aerospace industry. Example given here by Dassault Aviation. Dassault Aviation Group is a well-known for its defense division, right? It's based in France, okay? Where we have a topic here called increasing Falcon customer satisfaction. Falcon is a type of aircraft produced by Dassault Aviation, okay, using an efficient information system. How Dassault Aviation Group managed to penetrate or to increase the sale of the Falcon type airplanes. So as we can see here, if you read through the Dassault Aviation Group report, the business aircraft sector, where Falcon division has 45% of the market, right? Which is competing against the manufacturer such as the Canadian, the Bombardier, or the American Gulfstream. So these are the competitors. Looking at the 100% of market, Falcon by Dassault Aviation managed to secure 45% of the market of the business jet aircraft. So Dassault Aviation has already delivered 1,500 Falcon type airplanes to almost 800 customers worldwide. We are talking about business jet of aircraft, almost 70 countries, with the majority in the US, which is 62% out of 1,500 aircraft are being delivered to the US. Okay, and we are it is well known where the type of customers for Falcon are very demanding. Normally they are businessmen. They don't care about, they don't really bother about how much the aircraft costs. Basically they want quality delivery, quality product. Among the main members of the buying center part from airline passengers, okay, businessmen, personalities, and even politicians. There are financial directors, technical and sales team, head of operation, etc. So it is essential to set up personalized system. They want to know what the customer needs and what are the focus of the customer, and with appropriate context between the sales team and the different members of the buying center. This means an offer which is as personalized as possible. So you imagine that the businessman, the top leaders of the world using Falcon type of aircraft from Dassault Aviation, and they want it to be the personalized, meaning that some of the aircraft are custom made. So it is which considers customer imperative, and thus hand in hand with the sales force, there is customer service department and another in charge of the customization of the product. So that's how Falcon aircraft are being so successful compared to the other competitors. So this is what we are talking about, the range of Dassault Falcon aircraft. This is coming from sales documentation from Dassault. We have Falcon 7X, Falcon 900LX, Falcon 900EX, and the other series of Falcon type of aircraft. So basically, they don't just sell one type of business jet, right? Which probably not a good strategy. They have variety of type of aircraft, and each of these aircraft can be customized according to the needs by the customer, right? Remember, this is a customer focused or customer oriented strategy, right? When we talk about market surveillance, so how is it being conducted? The first one is about active listening. The specific aim of having market surveillance, when we talk about aerospace as an information system tool, is to gather information and re-inject it into the strategic context of the company with a view to favoring decision making. So when you conduct market surveillance, you will know already what is required, what are the demand from the market, and in terms of keyword over here, which is consists of observing and analyzing the political, economical, social, technological, environmental, and legal. We call it as PASTEL. Environment as well as the present and future economic impact, where you look at the trends and the drivers. Okay, the trend of producing aircraft. What are the new technology? What are the drivers of the market nowadays? So it gathers information for the following main areas. Number one is the products, to the extent that the information leads to the use of new material and the creation of new ranges, right? So the new technology, okay, the procedures, meaning the setting up or resetting up of industrial automation. We already know that we are in the era of Industrial Revolution 4.0, right? So there's a lot of automation in place in terms of trying to optimize and increase the capacity of the manufacturing process, right? The third one is the commercial organization, where the information can allow new distribution channels to be established. And finally, the gathering of information also include the management, okay, which is what we call it as implementing the just-in-time method. All right. So when we talk about the marketing surveillance, there are 4 different types of surveillance. We have the first one, competitor surveillance. Number 2, commercial surveillance. Number 3, environmental surveillance. And number 4, technological surveillance. So when you do marketing surveillance or business intelligence marketing surveillance, you can group it into these 4 different types of surveillance. Right. In terms of competitor surveillance, this focuses on the newcomers on a given market, the strengths and weaknesses of research and development, manufacture, product, cost, prices, distribution, communication organization, financial capacity, intensity of competition, such as number of competitors, size of competitors, how the market growth. Okay, certain product the market are growing bigger and bigger, right? Products, costs and prices of other competitors, production capacity, in terms of how the product going to be distributed, in terms of networks, covers, in terms of supply, ordering system. Okay, are you going to sell your product directly to the customer, or you are going to use online platform or retail, or all sort of other methods? Sales force, size, organization, motivation, training results, patents and research investment, financial capacity, entry and exit barriers. So this is what we call it as the competitor surveillance. You do look into what the competitors or a product has. And then we go into commercial surveillance. And this is a concern with the suppliers and customers present on the market. So normally we will analyze in terms of the commercial growth rates, what are the customer needs, because customer needs change in time, in term of social needs and so on, status and so on. So it also analyze in term of products or services offered. And at the same time, commercial surveillance also monitors the evolution in cost of material. Nowadays, due to the current effect of the war in Ukraine and Russia, right, where the cost of petroleum, oil, as well as gases are increasing, that resulted into the increase in terms of the cost of materials. All right, and commercial surveillance also monitor the introduction onto the market of new skills, the development of relations between customers and suppliers, as well as customers' solvency. So in industries working predominantly with bids for tender and on projects, commercial scanning is also observation of project opportunities. Sometimes there are call for proposal by certain government. They provide call for proposal for new type of military aircraft and so on. So normally this is we call it as the project opportunities. Here it is a case of detecting commercial opportunities a long way upstream in order to anticipate customer needs and create favorable environment for when the actual bidding process is launched. So normally commercial surveillance also involve pitching to the right stakeholders. So maybe you go and see the prime minister or president of a country, or seeing the general of the military and so on. And then the third type of surveillance, business marketing surveillance, is environmental surveillance. So these concerns factors other than those directly linked to the company's particularly specialty in terms of political, economical, social, technological, environmental, as well as legal aspects. So this is the PESTEL, PESTEL, right? And then the last one is technological surveillance, right? This targets technological information coming from fundamental and applied research, right? So normally we can refer to technological roadmap of aerospace industry in Malaysia, being produced by the National Aerospace Industry Coordinating Office. So they for Malaysia, we already have a technological roadmap for aerospace industry in Malaysia. What is the new product, where we are heading? Similarly with other countries, they also have technological roadmap. So it involves searching for details concerning products, right? What are the new product? What are the new services? What are the new technique substitution processes, because for example, like previously we have autoclave technology for composite manufacturing. So now we have a technology called out of autoclave, and technologies linked to the company's particular area. So it is quite important to a company to also include technological surveillance to ensure their capabilities and capacities to cope with the new era. Okay, and if we look here, right, this is a table showing main sectors to be analyzed in the aeronautics and space sector, adapted from Gemini Consulting, right? For example, like design and construction of launches, space launches, perimeter products such as satellite, shuttle, and capsule launch. For design and construction of satellites, we will need to look into telecommunications, data transmission, earth observation, and also military type of satellites. If we talk about design and construction of civil airplane, we are now looking into long haul, either for 200 to 300 seats, short medium haul 125 to 150, regional type of aircraft 50 to 96, and business jets is less than 56. And there are also category of military airplanes like being used by fighters, bombers, unmanned air vehicle, transport, surveillance, and tanker type of military airplanes, and the category of helicopters like civilians as well as military. So when you do business intelligent marketing, you may want to focus in terms of what are the areas that your company would like to get involved. So the necessity to innovate, which will forces the company to stay abreast of any information to do with its activities and those related to them. To be able to innovate means knowing what the company does itself and what others are doing. So if the company doesn't want to innovate, right, meaning that the company is planned to fail. It is they do not want to change, so the company is planned to fail. Surveillance allows technological breakthrough to be surmounted and market evolutions anticipated. Strategic decisions can therefore be taken in order to ensure companies' future competitiveness. So you can see that we have already looked at what is actually business intelligence marketing. We already look at the different approaches of surveillance marketing, and why is it important in terms of conducting business intelligence marketing, right? When you want to set up surveillance, okay, surveillance process leading to action. For example, like from the customer, we look at the customer needs. What is at stake means as well as planning in order for you to fulfill the customer needs by doing information of collection, knowledge of market and competitors, in terms of the pricing, in terms of the technology, in terms of the how to manufacture it, and providing analysis in terms of the standardization. You set a target and provide or improvement action plan. So if you look at this flow chart, it always coming from the customers themselves. Surveillance implies observing a large number of parameters, and for it to be effective, the framework within which information is sought relatively to the company strategy must be very precisely defined. So it has to be planned carefully. You have a short-term plan, you have a long-term plan. So this active surveillance requires the organization of coordinated information collection and its piecing together in order to obtain something reliable as well as useful. All right. So when we talk about surveillance means objective, okay, among other objective is to adapt the company to its environment, right? So if you are a third tier supplier of aerospace manufacturing, so you want to make sure that you will try to be competitive compared to other suppliers, and you need to fulfill in terms of having the right standards, qualifications like AS9100D, for example, having the right certification for NetCap, so and fulfilling the customer. The customer can be a supplier in tier 2 or even the OEM themselves. So surveillance main objective also to innovate. And you want to make sure that innovation is a continuous process. It is not just having one product and then you are happy and you are not going to improve the product anymore. Increase knowledge, either having staff to be trained in terms of new technology, new approach, new exploration in terms of how to further improve the product. Favor cooperation with other partners. Some of the partners can be, some of the competitors, okay, can also become a good partner, right? So don't see the competitors as a competitor forever, because you have to make sure that some of the time, maybe sometime, you can become partners as well, right? Use information as a weapon, right? Because it's a strategic, right? So any information is worthy, right? Manage interpersonal relations, protect the company and information, as well as increase profitability. Of course, reduce wastage and so on. Okay, if we look into many reports produced by aerospace consultants, they have already shown in terms of how many aircraft needed per year. This is coming from Airbus for single aisle type of aircraft, small and twin aisle aircraft, intermediate twin aisle, very large aircraft. This is what we have already discussed earlier about the market in the aerospace industry. So the company themselves, aerospace industry company, must make sure they know what's going on in terms of where is the direction of the aerospace industry going to. Okay. In terms of value of sources, as I given example earlier, where you can have open source information where anybody can find out information available in the market, available in the net, available in the open source. So this is roughly 70% of the information available. And then you have different source of information, which is called the closed source information, that can only be requested or made available if you pay some money, for example, or you get information directly from the source, right? You conduct a survey, you attended meeting, conferences, air shows, and so on. And finally, 10% will be coming from conducting spying. So ease of information and importance and strategic interest information will be gathered in the 30% portion. The public information normally, which is less strategic, but it is also important to be used as business analysis. All right, so that is all for tonight. This is the first part for business marketing management for aerospace industry. We will continue with the second part of the topic, which is covering the last two subtopic for business aerospace marketing management. All right.